Hello, and welcome to our inaugural episode of the Seneca Scout for the 2023-2024 school year. We pride ourselves on reporting local and international news from a variety of topics to give you a unique perspective. Thank you for tuning in.
We begin our show tonight with a devastating tragedy. Last Friday, a deadly earthquake measured at 6.8 in magnitude struck the Marrakech-Safi region of Morocco. As of now, it's reported to have claimed more than 3,000 lives in and around the city of Marrakech. This is the strongest earthquake to hit the area in the past century. While uncommon, it is not completely unexpected to see earthquakes of this size occur in this region of the continent. Search and rescue crews are still sifting through the rubble and locating victims. Several countries have expressed their desire to send economic aid to the devastated country. Some countries have already sent relief. Spain sending volunteers to Morocco to assist in search and rescue operations, and the United Kingdom recently sending firefighting crews to the region. There is, however, still fear about getting relief to the most isolated villages near the Atlas Mountains. Doctors Without Borders, a charity to provide humanitarian medical care, believes much of the undiscovered need will come from this area. This disaster leaves many more than thousands of people displaced and without a home. The Red Cross and several other organizations are accepting funds to be sent to victims and their families to help assist in building new houses. Our continued thoughts are with those impacted by this tragedy.
In other current events, the manhunt is over. After being reported missing for 2 weeks, fugitive Danilo Cavalcante has been tracked down using thermal heat technology from an aircraft in a Border Patrol Tactical Unit dog. Cavalcante fled Chester County Prison after being sentenced to life without parole after the murder of his 33-year-old girlfriend. A stolen van used to expedite the escape was found in East Nutmill Township, but different sightings on first-degree murder have been found across Philadelphia. After shaving his face, Cavalcante showed up at a doorbell camera over 20 miles away from where the breakout took place. This was an attempt to reach out to old acquaintances seeking help in his getaway. Cavalcante has been questioned at the Avondale State Police Station. He will ultimately be taken to State Correctional Facility where he will be serving a life sentence since last month's murder conviction.
In Pittsburgh news, the popular Lawrenceville Row House Cinema is now rebuilding and reopening 2 old movie theaters across the Pittsburgh area and turning them into bars, restaurants, and bigger, better movie theaters. Row House Cinema has partnered with the Dennis Theater to reopen while also acquiring the historic Hollywood Theater on Potomac Avenue in Dormont. The movie theater will be open from October through the end of the year, where they plan to run programming in the 300-plus seat movie theater. The owner, Brian Mendelson, says, quote, "We've been in the independent cinema business for 9 years now, and we're thrilled to bring that experience, enthusiasm, and of course a little movie magic to a bigger venue in a new neighborhood," end quote.
Also, in local news, 22 years ago, the 9/11 attacks occurred, changing the United States forever. The lives were honored at Seneca Valley Secondary Campus flagpole at the time the first plane hit the World Trade Center. About 50 members of the GROTC stood outside of the lowered flag Monday morning to lead the ceremony. Color Guard cadets marched in unity to the flagpole while other cadets saluted as the stars and stripes were lowered. That is a tradition that occurs at every high school and a lesson for kids who were not born during these attacks.
In current news, New England states are steadily watching this week's forecast because of Hurricane Lee, a Category 3 hurricane possibly hitting the region this weekend. Right now, Hurricane Lee is in the Atlantic Ocean working its way up the East Coast, but it is unclear where the hurricane will go after passing Bermuda. Hurricane Lee could be catastrophic because of the high wind speeds and high surf, which could lead to flooding and power outages across New England. According to Weather Channel meteorologists, quote, "Hurricane force winds extend up toward 90 miles from the center and tropical storm force winds extend out up to 205 miles, end quote. Meteorologists also predict ocean waves above 40 feet to crash on the coast. We will keep a close eye on the path of the hurricane.
An international story from Spain. After weeks of defiance, the Spanish soccer president finally resigned after World Cup women's kiss fiasco. This Sunday, Luis Rubiales stepped down as president after criticisms of the unwanted kiss of his Spanish soccer star Jennifer Hermoso. Rubiales has stated multiple times that the kiss was mutual and that the Spanish midfielder initiated the kiss, though Hermoso denied this, saying she did not consent. Hermoso stated, quote, "I won't tolerate that my word is called into question, and even less so that words that I didn't invented, which I didn't," said, end quote. The Spanish Women's Soccer Union tweeted a letter calling for Rubiales to resign, which every soccer player on the roster decided to sign it. Fellow Spanish soccer players showed their support by wearing shirts and wristbands saying, quote, "It's over," end quote. This Friday, a complaint was issued against Rubiales for his crimes for sexual assault. This complaint from the Spanish prosecutor could cause an official investigation and could lead to possible charges against Rubiales.
Drifting to a lighthearted topic, Zach Bryan was recently arrested for speeding. This is the same Zach Bryan who just announced and released tickets for his North America tour in 2024. For those who don't know, he is a folk country artist charting the Billboard Hot 100. Bryan was arrested in his home state, Oklahoma, on September 8th. After speeding down the highway, he was caught and turned in by the police, but got released after paying out his bail of $1,000. He mentioned on social media that he isn't proud of his arrest, and he understands that he doesn't get special treatment because he is in the public eye. However, was worried about giving his address out to the officers for privacy reasons.
Spotted lanternflies are dangerous to our well-being and our environment, right? Well, not as much as we think. According to research that entomologists at Penn State have conducted, people in Pennsylvania have been told to kill these bugs on the spot, so this prevents them from killing our trees and plants. But Penn State professor Julie Urban, trying to squash some of these myths about these bugs, one of the major myths about the lanternflies is that they will kill all trees and plants. But Urban and other Penn State entomologists says that, quote, "While spotted lanternflies will feed on more than 100 species of trees and other plants, recent discoveries suggest that they rarely kill them," end quote. Another major myth is that they will attack people and their pets. Even though they do have a straw-like structure to consume food, it cannot puncture animal or human skins. So to answer that question, spotted lanternflies are not dangerous to our environment and well-being.
And that concludes our first show of the Seneca Scout for the 2023-2024 school year. Thank you again for tuning in, and be sure to catch us next Friday for another great show. I'm Ileana James.
I'm Christian Schuster.
And that's all we have. Thank you.